The Dreadknoks are just as brutal as Cobra Commander, and the confrontation between the two is fantastic. What's up everyone, James here, and we return to Cobra Commander. Make sure to hit that like button. So before we get into the issue, I want to quickly go over who the Dreadknoks are for those of you who are new to G.I. Joe. But if you don't care, feel free to skip using the chapters below. So the Dreadknoks are a biker gang affiliated with Cobra. The roster has varied throughout the years in the different comic continuities and different animated series, but we are just going to talk about the original roster. The OG roster consisted of Zartan as the leader, Ripper, Buzzer, and Torch in the comics and in the Sunbow cartoon series. They first appeared in the comics in Marvel's G.I. Joe issue 25, but Zartan was introduced in issue 24. In the animated series, they all appeared in the second G.I. Joe miniseries titled The Revenge of Cobra. I will say this though, who later becomes second in command of the group in both continuities, who we'll see later in the video, is Zartan's sister Zarana, a fellow Master of Disguise like her brother. Now this opens with Buzzer and Ripper torturing this pair of gunrunners they caught selling weapons in their territory. They demand to know who their buyer is, and the gunrunners refuse to give it up, which is absolutely wild. If I saw a chainsaw on the table before even being tortured, I'd be singing like a canary. So when they refuse to talk, Buzzer takes the chainsaw and ends one of the gunrunners by sawing him in half. These guys are nuts. The surviving gunrunner witnessing this immediately spills the beans on who they were going to sell to. He reveals they never got a name, only a description of the man they were supposed to meet with in Orlando. A big guy with a flat top. Now it's obvious that it's Mercer whom he's describing. Now if you're asking yourself why m.a.r.s would be purchasing weapons from some gunrunners when they already produce and manufacture some of the most advanced weaponry in the world that we even got a glimpse of in Duke's first issue, well, I have a theory for that. I theorize that Destro, like his ancestors, sells to both sides of any conflict. He could be the main source of weapons for one side, while at the same time purchasing weapons to sell to the other side of the conflict, in order for there to be no way to link it back to him and his company. That's what I think is going on. Comment below your theory. The Dreadknoks take the surviving gunrunner outside and tell him they'll meet his buyer for him. As they wrap a chain around his body, the gunrunner says, "You said you let me go." Ripper replies, "No, we said we'd give you a ride home." Ripper and Buzzer hop into the Thunder Machine. The Thunder Machine is such a cool looking vehicle and has been the Dreadnouks signature vehicle since G.I. Joe issue 51 and season 2 of the Sunbow animated series. So I'm glad we're seeing it here. I'm going to go on a quick tangent here. There is a figure of Soundwave as the Thunder Machine and it looks so sick. Now the Dreadknoks drive, dragging the gunrunner's body. Like, geez, was I lying when I said these guys are just as brutal as Cobra Commander? Speaking of the Commander, we go to him and his Cobra-La bodyguard, who I'll continue to call Grunt. But I will say this, we're basically going to find out who he is in a bit. He and the Commander have made it to Florida and are on this gator tour. What's funny here is while amongst a crowd of people, Cobra Commander looks at this kid who sticks his tongue at him, annoying the Commander. It looks like he's about to grip this kid up and help him finish with all his living, but the Grunt stops him. When Cobra Commander says that he hates humans, the Grunt reminds him that he is one of these people. Cobra Commander explains that humans were never his people. The chaos humans create is disgusting, the world they live in is in need of order, which is why he left his previous life. Even though Cobra-La has flaws as well, their society is better. Following an energy signal, the Commander cuts through this fence here. The Grunt warns him again about drawing too much attention to themselves, but the Commander just dismisses him. At that moment, the Grunt remembers when Pythona gave him this mission. She explained to him that Globulus was sending Cobra Commander on a mission, and he needed someone to keep an eye on him while in the world of the humans. She said to him, "You cannot go as you are, old friend. There must be some changes." And the Grunt responded, "Anything for Cobra-La." Pythona used this creature to modify his body. I'm telling you guys right now, the Grunt is Nemesis Enforcer. Because who else within Cobra-La would Pythona consider an old friend? And Nemesis Enforcer would have to undergo physical changes in order to fit in the outside world. The guy has vast wings and blades on his forearms. Also, he's fiercely loyal to Cobra-La. While in the swamps, the Grunt reveals to Cobra Commander that Globulus is concerned that he will be so distracted by his own goals that he will fail in his main mission. This shows us that Globulus is no fool. He knows he can't fully trust Cobra Commander and knows that his ambition can get the better of him. Again, Cobra Commander just dismisses him, calls him a distraction, and tells him he will continue on alone. This pisses off the Grunt. He grips the commander and tells him he was ordered to make sure he completes his mission of finding Energon and bringing it back to Globulus. As much as he dislikes it, that means he has to protect him. So from now on, he will give the orders and lead. The one thing that bothers me here is the fact that the Grunt calls the energy they're tracking Energon, when just in the last issue, Cobra Commander didn't even have a name for the energy that he said fuels Megatron. And I doubt Megatron would reveal anything to him. But anyways, their confrontation gets interrupted by a police officer asking for their ID and for the commander to remove his helmet. This officer is about to find out it's going to be a bad day for him. Cobra Commander says to the Grunt, "If you're charged to protect me then." The Grunt approaches the officer, ignoring his orders to stand down. The cop starts firing off his gun and the bullets are just bouncing off the Grunt. He grabs the police officer and straight up headbutts him and tears his arm off at the same time. Also, the headbutt was so powerful that the cop's head exploded. Like, my god. While the Grunt was distracted, Cobra Commander used the opportunity to slip away and follow the Energon signature, which leads him to the Dreadknoks cabin. Now, if what they did earlier didn't convince you that they are some sick puppies, this definitely will. When Cobra Commander enters their cabin, he sees someone's torso, a head, and remains of another torso all hanging from a ceiling. Like, what the hell? What's interesting is he determines the Energon signature he's tracking isn't here, but that the Dreadknoks have been experimenting with Energon. Once he tries to leave, that's when he comes face to face with the Dreadknoks. After they confront him about being in their home uninvited, I just like Cobra Commander's response. Even after seeing the dead body parts hanging from their ceiling and these guys carrying weapons on them, he isn't taking them seriously at all and isn't impressed by them. It's like these guys are Hannibal Lecter fanboys while Cobra Commander is Hannibal himself. He literally sighs and tells them they've stumbled upon something that belongs to him. If they can't help, he's leaving. They tell the commander that he needs to pay a toll before he can leave, like giving up his helmet, but that's not gonna happen. Cobra Commander whips out his pistol and fires on them. Though this is cool, this is yet another inconsistency, because in the last issue, the commander had a weapon that he used on the guy Jimmy from the bar that seemingly blew a hole in the guy. There was like a huge blood spatter, but here he seems to have a standard pistol. Doesn't make sense. Though the Dreadknoks are enjoying the firefight, that isn't gonna last long because the commander tosses this spore grenade and it destroys the Thunder Machine. He uses the explosion to escape deeper into the swamp. Just when the Dreadknoks are about to chase him down and get revenge, Zorana appears, stopping them. She reminds them that that part of the swamp is off limits even to them, and tells them that the commander is going to die out there, and plus, they have a family meeting to get to. Cobra Commander reaches the location of the Energon signature, and this is the first sign that he'll not return to Cobra-La and instead form Cobra. He says to himself, "My quest is over. The power of transformation resides in these waters, raw and powerful. I just need to harvest it, then I can return to Cobra-La and show I have earned my place. Or I could..." And before he could say more, the commander ends up falling into the deep waters of the swamp, where not only his Energon lies, but also a family of gators reside. That is the end of Cobra Commander versus the Dreadknoks. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out the newest video right here of Transformers and of Duke, or you can just check out the Energon Universe playlist. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to go beyond.